You're in a critical game, trying to lock up a playoff spot, and you're bringing in a kid who's never played a single game in the league. To say Habs fans are buzzing right now would be a huge understatement. Marty, what do you think of the move?
Well, obviously, I think this is going to bring some energy, but I also think that there's a need with the Montreal Canadiens. Look, they got a great top line with Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slavkovsky, and they got a great third line with Dvorak, Gallagher, and Anderson, but there's something missing with a second line, something that can bring a little bit of offense. So I think there is a need for the Montreal Canadiens to add somebody, and they've tried a few different people, but now you're bringing, look, first rounder from last year, a teenager that has had an unbelievable season in the KHL, and this is not like a college kid coming up. This is a guy that has been playing pro. So I think that he has a bit of a head start to some of the college kids that have had a chance to play some games in the NHL this year.
All right, you mentioned the lines. I want to follow up on that. Demidov had 19 goals, 49 points in 65 games in the KHL this season. The 19-year-old is going to at least start on the third line with Alex Newhook and Yoel Armia. But St. Louis says he's also going to see some time with Patrick Laine. Do you like the idea of Demidov getting looks on multiple different lines?
Well, I think that you start with Armia, with Newhook, and Demidov. Why? Because you don't want it to be a line that's got some issue defensively. And obviously with Patrick Laine, that would not be the best defensive line. So you're putting Demidov in a situation where Armia is a really good two-way forward. Newhook can play in both in all three zones. So you're going to surround Demidov with some really good players. Now, if you need a couple of goals late in the game, you're putting Laine with Newhook and Demidov, and you say, guys, just play in the offensive zone. Go ahead and go get some goals. And look, I've been in situations where, Chris Kreider in 2012 got called up to the, after college with the New York Rangers. And we had a need. We had a need for an extra forward. We had some injuries. But at the same time, he only played, he played 18 of the 20 playoff games. But for the first two rounds, they surrounded him with good veterans to make sure that the transition was good. And then in the conference finals, he scored in 3 straight games, the first 3 games against Marty Brodeur. So, look, Demidov may have that same situation where you surround him with some good veterans, and after he's got his feet going, then maybe you move Laine up and you say, you guys go and score some goals.
All right, Marty, here we go. We've seen 8 seeds pull off some first-round upsets in the past. The Habs are a virtual lock to face the Caps in the opening round. When you add Demidov to the Habs' current lineup, would this be an 8 seed that could cause problems for Ovi and the Caps?
Well, I think the Canadiens could cause problem without Demidov in the lineup. And obviously you add that aspect of everything. So you're saying, okay, now you have one more thing that can put you over the top. But I think this is more about the Washington Capitals. Look, I think that whoever the 8th seed would have been, I think a lot of people would say there's an upset waiting to happen here. The Washington Capitals played above all expectations all season long. And now in the last month, they've had a bit of a coming back to earth type of moment. Logan Thompson's injury, Ovechkin's chase. It seems like their focus was not on the games and finishing the season strong. So there is a potential for an upset in the first round because Washington is vulnerable to that. But I also think that the Montreal Canadiens are the type of team in the second half that did so well that whoever they play in the first round, they could definitely cause the upset.
All right. The Blue Jackets, by the way, are the only team that can still catch the Habs. The Wings, Rangers, and Bruins are among those who've already been eliminated. It's the first time in NHL history that all 3 of those original 6 organizations will miss the playoffs in the same year.